Welcome back to the show, everybody. Have we got one for you today? By the way, I wanted to ask a question. Is ISO20022 live? Because Swift says so. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook at the top of the screen. And that is exclusive content, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget about our new group, Digital Perspective Mastermind group. Link underneath the video. Join that group. Limited number of people, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be closing the door. Don't mess around. 3.2% up, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, 16,000 plus for Bitcoin, Ethereum 1,100 plus, XRP right now at 37 cents. Let's get into this thing. There is big news for Link 2 today, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to want to click that link underneath this video too. You got to be accredited to get these products, but look what just happened today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what this is in short. 2 words, game changer. Link 2 is granted a FINRA, BD, and ATS, which is an alternative trading system licenses, ladies and gentlemen. What that means is that they are going to be able to provide us members as accredited investors, once you provide and become a member to Link 2, with an app, an alternative trading system. So when you buy the private equity on the platforms like PolySign, Ripple, Uphold, Acorn, Zipline, and everything else, it's amazing. Link 2 as well, BitPay, it's all great. But when you buy those things, you're going to have an app that you will be able to trade those things, those SPVs, between other holders. And I don't know of another private equity firm that has that ability for secondary trading of equity securities. Shout out to Link 2. Boom, yeah, right there, ladies and gentlemen. Click that link underneath the video. Rumors are circling, ladies and gentlemen, that Mark Zuckerberg from Meta is reportedly set to resign next year per the link. We are going to keep you up to date on that. Remember, one of the things that's fascinating is the change of these social media platforms from Facebook to Meta. And I do believe soon we're going to see Twitter go from Twitter possibly to X.com. Keep your eyes out. Binance CEO CZ Binance says here that he met with investors in Abu Dhabi last week to raise cash for a crypto industry recovery fund. And that's a great idea. But you know what's a better idea is making sure that these funds of customers are not accessible by the actual platform. How about that for a notion? And with that being said, you're going to get a better version of what I just said right here. I want you to listen to this, because where was Gary Gensler while FTX was selling FTT, which this gentleman right here, Bob Greenfield, is going to tell you is, without a doubt, a security. Where was Gary Gensler? Oh, that's right. He was actually meeting with FTX. Take a listen here.
You know, the problem with regulation is that there had always been an issue as to whether or not tokens, whether or not Bitcoin, cryptocurrency at large, if they're securities. And because of that ambiguity, no agency really stepped in to say, you know what, it falls under our purview. And yet you are here and you're saying, you know what, it's clear to me. Where do you point the finger at this point?
Well, it's very clear, Melissa. So I, like everybody in our community, who was fascinated by the FTX story. So as I'm reading the details, I come to understand FTT.
This is a former NASDAQ chairman.
And when I read that FTT had a claim on the profits of FTX, too many acronyms here, when I read that, I said, wow, that's my view of a security. That's clear-cut security. I did some research. It took about a half hour, and you had to go back to 1946 to the Howey case. And the Howey case established 4 criteria for what constitutes a security. And FTT meets perfectly every one of those criteria. So it's clear as day that FTT was a security, and as a security can and should be regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And this mandate is not, off the fairway, Joe. is right down the center of what they should be doing. They've been criticized by being too expansive in their mission. This is core. They didn't do it, and investors have, lost billions of dollars.
So the SEC should have stepped in on that front. How about the notion of the exchange? There are a lot of crypto platforms out there these days. You ran an exchange. Do you think that there should have been, or there should be, tighter oversight as a platform where you're buying and selling these things, whether they be securities or not?
So one, I want to clarify, when you say exchange in the crypto space, it's different than NASDAQ. So what we have is the concept of DeFi, right? But the crypto world is the opposite. It's the most centralized finance system we have today. So FTX was clearly an exchange. They also were a prime broker, an introducing broker, a clearinghouse, and a custodian, and the regulator.
How many times have we said that the crypto market is a centralized market because everything is bottlenecked at the exchanges? We have talked about this for years. He's saying it right here. And the fact that you have the custody and the control, the buying and the selling of it, you run the risk of front running and everything and wash trading and all the other bad things that come with it when you're not parsed out the way you need to be. Keep listening.
Never seen anything this centralized. So clearly we need a regulatory structure in place that addresses that, puts the proper checks and balances in place. That's not available today. But what is available today, and it'll be very effective, is regulation of securities. If you have a token that has a claim on profits, that is a security. It's directly in the purview of the SEC's mission, and they should get on with that job.
Well, I tell you, when it comes to FTT, I certainly wouldn't agree with him if he said it about XRP, because XRP is held at 0 on the books at Ripple. I can tell you that. We know that from Brad Garlinghouse himself. However, I do not believe that's the case in which they sold FTT. Now, is it? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. This here is a quick little report from Squawk Box and CNBC on FTX in the current state. You're going to need to know it. Take a listen here.
The latest on the downfall of crypto exchange FTX in a court filing over the weekend. The company said it owes its 50 biggest creditors more than $3 billion. FTX ran many of its operations out of the Bahamas. Kate Rooney has made her way there. Oh, that's rough. And joins us now. Hey, Kate.
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Good morning. Yeah, I spoke briefly to Sam Bankman-Fried in Nassau on Friday, and despite being ousted from FTX in the company's bankruptcy, he says he's spending most of his time right now still trying to broker a bailout, as he put it. He declined to talk about the financial details around the fall of FTX and what we all really want to know, or an on-camera interview. We're also trying to get a longer talk on the record. Joe, he is hunkered down, though, here in the Bahamas in a pretty upscale neighborhood. He did tell me there are billions of dollars of potential funding out there to make customers whole, as he put it. He also talked about getting as much value to users. He says he hates what happened here and deeply wishes he had been more careful. He also maintains that there are billions of dollars in customer assets, he says, available, despite not having access to his corporate email or any FTX systems at this point. And guys, this is, of course, a long shot right now, and legal experts telling me he'd really be no different than any other third-party bidder at this point. But white-collar crime lawyers also told me over the weekend that being part of the solution may actually shield him from some legal liability in criminal and civil cases. No response from Sam Bankman-Fried on that. And you can see some stark differences already here on the island as this company unwinds. We stopped by FTX's headquarters. A sign that used to be outside there is gone. The parking lot was essentially empty, and security guards shoot us away pretty quickly. We also went to what appears to be the plot of land that FTX had committed about $60 million to build out. An executive at FTX once compared that to Apple and Google's campuses in Silicon Valley. That is now vacant. No construction has started there. And guys, the story is still heating up. The bankruptcy courts are really what people are focused on. FTX customer funds are now caught between Delaware and the Bahamas. Back to you.
Just a mess. But I want to take you back to this. Sam Bankman-Fried said billions of dollars potential funding opportunities to make customers whole. And then he says, I hate what happened and deeply wish that I had been more careful. Well, I couldn't help but think, careful for what? Not to get caught? There's nothing that we've learned about the bankruptcy filing that says that you were trying to be careful with customers' funds when you were buying multi-million-dollar estates with their money. To add to the mess, shout out to Ben, BitBoy Crypto right there, Ben Armstrong. Say that 4 times fast when you're tired. FTX and SBF. Look, I mean, Ben broke this thing open. I got to give it to him. You know, hats off to him. FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried literally paid a Republican enough money to stop other Republicans. This man is going to become the Speaker of the House. He's talking about Kevin McCarthy used FTX, SBF stolen to defeat conservatives in 2022. Now, I'm showing this not because I'm right or left, but because when it's time to yank Elizabeth Warren's ass out in front of the spotlight, it's time to yank Kevin McCarthy's ass out in front of the spotlight. Today's his day. You're welcome, Kevin. It's full disclosure around here. Ripple could benefit greatly from some FTX assets. Now, this was floated not long ago, and we heard the same conversation happen actually when Celsius fell, or Luna, right? And I don't know how far this goes, but you know, Ripple is 1 billion flush with cash. Head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen, because there's even more news. Legal analyst in the space, Fred Rispoli, says he has filed today, and it is in a California court. I'm going to get down here to it. Shout out to you, Fred. Hodl Law, his business, I believe, in California, Hodl Law Cali, my California domiciled firm, filed a federal lawsuit against the SEC in the Southern District of California on behalf of Hodl Law. It's a declaratory judgment action seeking relief from the court that Ethereum Network and Ether Digital Currency Unit ETH are not securities or investment contracts under the Securities Act of 1933. How about that? Now we have a lawsuit from Fred Rispoli on behalf of Hodl Law, and it is to clear the name of Ethereum and ETH. They're next in line, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, Brad Garlinghouse is back at the ranch telling all of us that Bank of America can't wait till this case is over and get clarity because they'll gain a competitive advantage with the large central monopolist, I'm paraphrasing, that currently run the cross-border banking world, and the Bank of America have a chance to tell them, thanks but no thanks, we can use Ripple and XRP and do it ourselves once we get clarity, and we know about the patent that says exactly that. And how about the go live date, ladies and gentlemen? Where are we with that, right? And the reality is ISO20022 and SWIFT had said that they were going live in November, and I believe they've done exactly that. But I want you to hear this clip as a reminder of where we are and what is going on. And I have said this multiple times, that when they go live, it didn't mean necessarily that they would be settling with digital assets like XRP and other assets right out of the gate. It has been time and time again shown to me that whether we're talking about the progress of Ripple or the progress of this crypto space in a macro sense, you see waves of innovation in phasing things in. And I believe that is the moment we're in right here with ISO20022 and SWIFT. And I believe they call it a coexisting phase. Take a listen.
The hurdles that still have to be overcome in the SWIFT community as we transition towards ISO 20022?
Yeah, you said it. ISO 20022 is a key enabler to get there. I mean, indeed, it's all about making sure that we take friction out of the system, but we also provide additional services to end customers, and their bank innovation teams and fintechs are going to be able to innovate also in the level of services that they can provide to end customers across all segments, retail and wholesale payments. Towards that ambition, of course, we need to start with this migration, with this adoption of 2022, and has already started at the domestic level in some communities already. So that's important to differentiate. We have, again, the domestic stream, with a growing number of countries already migrating their clearing systems to 20022. Some are already there, and some others that are going to happen in the near future. And then we have the work with SWIFT, in the SWIFT community, in the international space. And indeed, it is starting now in November. SWIFT is fully ready. We have a growing number of customers that are going to be adopting 20022 as of November. But that is going to happen in a coexistence way with existing standards, existing MT standards, and this coexistence will last until 2025, with the whole community will get to that new standard. So the SWIFT community is ready, and it's very exciting to see that we are achieving this key milestone for the future of the industry.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the chart that proves it, that they're already working and started on a domestic level. This is SWIFT in ISO20022. And not to complicate matters, because, we know that people use as a slang ISO tokens or ISO20022 tokens. But ISO20022 is a messaging platform, and it's a standardization of a messaging language that's going to be used that will allow for the integration of new things like coding new digital assets for settlement, as well as many other things that along with the standardization. But eventually, they will migrate, I believe, into the incorporation of this messaging platform, the ability to access and code and send along with that the messaging information and the asset itself, for which I believe XRP Ledger and XRP could play a role in helping settle the complete transaction and not just the message delivery itself. So this is extremely exciting where we are, ladies and gentlemen. There's lots going on. While the space feels like it is falling down around us, I offer this: utility, utility, utility. And if your project has it, I'm probably going to want to hold some of it. Not financial advice from me or anyone else, just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.